Alright, today we're going to be doing this horizontal cabling lab here, where you're going to be running cable from your telecommunication port here, up, simulating the wall, coming out onto the cable rack. This is what you would normally find in your ceilings. It'll come across over to here, then it'll go down into your wiring closet where you would have a patch cable, okay? We always use solid cable for this, as opposed to the last lab we just did where we used stranded cable for the patch cable. So here's our solid cable. Comes in a 30,000 foot bulk box. We're gonna come at it through our box here, like so. Run it up through the rack, and then across our ceiling grid here, down. Now, as you saw over on this side over here, this is how your rack would look in your wiring closet with your organization in the front and your punch down ports are in the back. They're a little difficult to get to at this point here. So what I like to do when I'm working on my closets is I take my rack and I flip it over so it's upside down, but now these are all facing me where it's going to be easier for me to work. So the method works the same. We're going to come down in, be coming in through the top. So let's just say I wanted to use port 19 here. So we look real close, you can see the port 19, and you'll see we have on the inside rails here, we have our 568B, and on the outside colors, you can see we have our 568A. We use the 568B scheme. So in this one here, it's going to go orange, blue, white, blue. And then on the lower one, it's going to go green, and then brown, white, brown. So the first thing I want to do is get my wire strippers. Come over here. Okay, I'm going to use these here. I've maxed out. I'm going to take off about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. Just go around one time. I just want it to score the outer sheathing. Give it a break. And you'll want to look inside and look for any copper that might have gotten cut or exposed. You see we had a nice cut there, so we didn't have anything exposed. On the inside of our cable here, you'll see we have a plastic divider and a string. So we don't want to have those mixed into our component here, into our punch down at all. So we want to cut those off. Right? So we can use cutters that are on here. You can use the cutters that are on a pair of wire snippers. Doesn't matter. We're going to use these just for the ease of it all. And you see they're out of there. Now notice, just like in our patch cable, our wires all have twists. Each one is an individual different amount of twists, and we're just going to lay our wires in place. In this case here, it's going to go orange, blue, white, blue. And we're going to push them in with our hand first. So I'm going to bring my wire up like this, kind of just hold it right here, and I'm going to untwist just enough to the point of termination. So I grab my orange, and I'm just going to push it in there. Just kind of push it in with my fingers, just so it gets held into place for now. Okay, they're not all the way in. This is an IDC connector, which means there's metal blades in there that are going to individually be cut by the blades. So it's called insulation displacement connector is what it stands for. So there's my blue, and then my white, blue. Then I come down to the bottom, we're going to see we've got our green, brown, white, brown. Let's get them untwisted. Same thing. You see how I'm bringing my twist all the way to the point of termination because I do not want to fall victim to crosstalk, which is, once again, the phenomenon that occurs when electrical current is sent down a wire. It creates an electromagnetic field around the wire, And then one wire's electromagnetic field will destroy the data on its neighboring wire. And that twisting cancels out that electromagnetic frequency. Now you see I got all these tails off of here, so if you just wait 1 second here, and I'll get my tool. Okay. Now this is a punch down tool. You want to set yours to a high impact, and if we look at the top, you'll see there's a point on one end. That point is a cutter. We want to use that. This is going to slam these wires into place inside of the IDC blades, and this one's going to cut it off. So I just put my cutter on. I make sure I go perfectly straight. Stabilize your punch down panel with your free hand. Just give it a couple good pushes, and you see it just cuts off that wire. And they just will fall off on their own. Okay. Make sure you clean up your rest when you're done. Now, when you come over here, make sure you turn the blade over. Okay. And do the same thing. Okay. Now we have one half of it done. We're going to head over to the other side where we're going to do our telecommunication port. Okay, this is our telecommunication port here. This is what you might find at your office desk, whatever. We're going to cut this wire off. You always want to leave yourself a good bit so you have a service coil. And we're just going to do the same practice where we're going to now strip the wire, maybe 1.5 to 2 inches back. Give it a bend. Pull your extra wire and plastic piece out. Get that plastic piece of string to the side so we can cut it off. You can use scissors, you can use wire cutters like I just did there. You got your string out of that. Okay. Then we're going to put it into this device here. This is called a Keystone. Okay. And it'll receive your RJ45 patch cable that you put in. Notice we have an A and a B, and we are doing 568B. So that means on these two right here, I'm going to have my orange and white orange. And on these two here, I'm going to have my green, white, green. And when we flip it over, it's going to be white, blue, blue, white, brown, brown. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We like to use this tool here. It's going to help protect your hands. Okay, so you see where it says A, B, and C? We're going to put this in so that the B, okay, our piece fits in just perfectly right there. We're going to lay our wire in like that, take it all the way up to the edge, just like that. And then if you can see in there, you'll see your orange and your white orange. So we're going to go ahead and do this one as well. Give them an untwist. Just push him in. Do the same thing with your green wire. Push. Make sure they're held in there. Now we're going to do our brown and blue pair. What I like to do here is just like I put my thumb on the one side, so I only untwist just enough. There we go. Brown was giving me a bit of a headache there. And now my blue pair. Okay. Now you see, remember, they're not all pushed into the IDC. It's important to use this black tool. I've had a lot of students in the past who have just tried to hold on to the Keystone connector themselves. Then they come up with a tool. Okay, remember to have your cutter on the outside to cut off that extra wire. They would come in here trying to hold it with their hand, and it would move on them. And what would end up happening is they would end up stabbing themselves in the hand. Not good. Okay. Flip it over. Let's get that green one. Make sure your cutter's on the right side again. Make sure as you're pushing the wire in. I've had it in the past where I just went at it really hard and I actually went beside it. Make sure you're always getting the wire inside of the IDC connectors. Okay, take it out. Okay, get these wires off of here. One of the most, what I feel are the important features that a lot of people miss is the top part. Inside of these connectors in the bag, they have these little top brackets, and they look like this. And they fit on top, and they will help hold the wires in place during all of the movement. Oops, I misplaced one, thank you. Okay. And they hold the wires in place because when you're putting these inside of your box, the wire has a tendency to pull back, and these will help hold the wires into their IDC connectors so they don't pull out in the end. The last thing we have to do now is test it. So we're going to take that patch cable you made earlier. Go ahead and plug him in to here. I'm going to turn on my connector. Plug them into the top part. Remember, don't use this one here. That one's for your fiber optics. Here's your down arrow. Bring it to the cable. We're not ready yet. We have a wire mapper that's going to fit on the outside. Okay, it's this guy right here. And we're going to plug him into port number 19 over here. And what will happen is our signal will bounce backwards right here. And if we got all of our wires in the right order, we're going to come back with a successful test. So we're going to hit select. Excellent. So you see we have a 10.4 foot cable, and it's plugged into the wire mapper on the other side. Now, let's say I have 100 cables in this cabinet, and I'm trying to find one particular one. I could also hit this button right here called tone, and then choose to start the test. And when I do that, it's going to send a signal down the line. Okay, and that noise is going to come through. So now when we go down to our closet, which say, in most cases, might be about 60 yards away, we could go into the back and we could find our line. See? Nothing here, but you can hear it coming down the wire, and then you can then find what port you're supposed to be in. All right, that's it for our video today. And now you guys can get started on your lab.